While filling out the Santa Rosa Junior College application, you are going to be providing information we need for the admissions process. On the first page of the application, you will be selecting which term you are applying for and your educational goals. Note that at any time during this process, you can save the application if you need to leave and come back to finish it later by clicking the Save button at the bottom of most pages. On the second page, you are shown the contact information SRJC Apply has for you based on the information you entered when you created your account. You also have the ability to edit the information if needed. It is always a good idea to take a moment and review this information for any errors. On the next page, you are asked to provide your past educational history. The first question asks about any past colleges you have attended, including whether this is your first time in college, the first time at SRJC but you have attended another college, or if you're returning to SRJC after being absent a main term. The next question asks about your high school education level, whether you've received a high school diploma from a U.S. school, you passed a high school equivalency test such as the GED or the HiSET, you've received a certificate of California high school proficiency, you've received a diploma or certificate of graduation from a foreign high school, you're currently enrolled in adult school, or you're not a graduate of and no longer enrolled in high school. If you graduated high school, it will ask you the date on which you received your diploma, whether you received it in California, and if you have attended high school in California for 3 or more years. The next page asks about citizenship and U.S. military status. Permanent or temporary residents, refugees, or people studying here on a student visa will need to enter their registration number that can be found on their appropriate form of ID. Undocumented students who have attended a California high school for at least 3 years and will have graduated by the time they begin college can choose Other and click on No Documents. These students will be able to fill out the AB 540 form and submit it to the college in order to pay the same cost as a resident of California. The next question asks whether you or any of your family members are currently on active duty or were formerly in the U.S. military. On the next page, you are asked about California residency status for the purposes of tuition costs and to declare any of the listed out-of-state activities you have completed. On the next page, you will be providing information about any needs or interests you may have while attending SRJC. The first question asks if you're comfortable reading and writing English. The next question asks about any financial assistance you may need while attending SRJC. If you're interested in receiving information about financial aid while attending college, make sure to check yes. And if you're receiving temporary assistance for needy families, CalWORKs, supplementary security income, or general assistance, you will also want to answer the next question. If you're interested in participating in any athletic sports at SRJC, you can check the appropriate box. If there are any other programs and services that you may be interested in, you can check all boxes that apply on the final question of the page. The next page is a series of mainly voluntary demographic information. The only 2 questions that are required on this page are the parent and guardian education levels. If you don't know their education levels, you can always select Unknown. The next page consists of supplemental questions. The first question is, if you have an SRJC student ID already, you can enter it here. If you don't have one or you don't know what it is, you can leave it blank. You can then check all of the ways in which you heard about SRJC. The final question on this page asks which campus you expect to attend most of your classes. Note that this does not restrict you to taking classes only on that campus. The final page allows you the opportunity to review your responses on the application, and you can do this by clicking on the Review My Application button. You will then need to consent or not consent to the college releasing necessary personal or academic information for any of the purposes listed below. Note that this option does not affect the admissions process. As the final step of the application, you will need to acknowledge that all the information you entered is true and correct, and then you can submit the application by pressing the Submit My Application button at the bottom of the page. Upon submission of your application, it is sent to Santa Rosa Junior College for processing. This process can take up to 15 minutes, and upon approval, you will be sent an email from the college with your student ID number and suggested next steps. The email can sometimes be flagged as spam, so make sure to check your spam folder. If 15 minutes have elapsed and you have not received a reply from SRJC, please contact Admissions and Records with the confirmation number found on your summary of applications.